Welcome to this week's episode of Forgiving the Girl Inside. Today we have a special guest with us, Judith Lambert, who is a certified ULA life coach, a certified aroma freedom practitioner, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce this right because you all know I struggle with words. I'm going to have to look at my notes just to make sure I say it correctly. A licensed professional counselor and addictions counselor in the state of Oregon. So she has this awesome modality and healing journey that she is going to share with us today from going from depressed to delightful. And I am so excited to hear her story. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell. We come on weekly with featuring a new person who's sharing their healing journey. And if you know anyone that would benefit from this video or any of the other series, please be sure to invite them to the channel. So welcome, Judith. How's it going today?
Good. Thanks for having me here.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about your journey from going depressed to delightful. So, what was it like on the depression side of it?
It was pretty rough as far as my family goes and health wise, personally, I was just struggling. So about 5 years ago was when it really hit home for me.
Okay, what happened?
Well, I'd gone through a divorce, loss of a parent, a move, went through some struggles in my marriage with my husband's faith, which was really huge for our relationship. And job changes, all these different pieces that just kind of created the perfect storm. And health wise, I went down really fast. Um, Emotionally, probably just as much, and didn't really realize how depressed and upset that I was about life circumstances. And so it really just, there was just one day where it just hit me that things were not in a good place.
Yeah, and what happened on that particular day?
So I ended up looking, I love to read. And so in my downtime, I happened to get a book on the ULA. And I didn't really know much about it. I'm a young living consultant as well. And so we have some of the oils that are the ULA oil. So that's how I'd
Mhm.
heard of it, but I didn't really know much about it. So I got this book and just it's been sitting around for a while, happened to pick it up and was skimming through it. And it just hit me that there's a balance in there of the 7 areas. And when they're out of balance, things aren't usually going so well. And it totally resonated with me. And so the area that I realized was the most out of balance, they all were, but the most out of balance one was my faith. And because everything else had really spiraled downward with it, I really had to focus on getting my faith back on track. And the ULA accelerator, they talk about accelerators and things that boost, kind of your progress. And gratitude was a big piece of that I had started, I guess, forgetting about, because I'm a pretty optimistic person overall. And during this chunk of time, the gratitude really wasn't there for me. So I started focusing in on rebuilding my faith and focusing on the gratitude of where I was and how that's changed from where I was in the past, even however small that was. So that was a huge turning point for me.
Yeah, that's my story too. Gratitude was like the first pivot that I had that helped me heal from that depression, anxiety,
Mm.
panic attacks, and all of that. And then, did you share this newfound gratitude with your family? Get them on board?
I did a little bit. I think it was really huge in changing the family dynamics. So I think they even talk about that in the book about how you just kind of do it and people follow suit. And
Mm-hmm.
so it changed so much, just in my own doing things, my thinking, and then how that my interactions with the family and the people around me. And so that was really huge. Not so much directly teaching them, but the
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah. So do you do it? So for your gratitude, what do you practice? Like, what's your method of? Do you just recite things out loud? Do you write them down?
I wish I wrote things down more often. I tend to pray. I spend some time daily, sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night, sometimes both. or throughout the day where I just focus on having affirmations. That's part of being, when I was trained as an AFT practitioner for the Aroma Freedom, talking about mindset was really huge and correlated right along with my journey at that time too. And so starting to impact my life with knowing what words needed to be spoken in a sense. So being very clear with the words that I was using. So whether that was prayer time or whether that was just over me, like I can do this, or I can be, just some of those words to really refocus where my thinking was.
Right. That's incredible. So what is the typical day like for you now to help? I mean, because the emotions still stir up and you still, fight those issues. So what do you do now to kind of like, do you recognize it and counteract it?
I think for me now is learning how consistency is so beneficial. So, sticking with my daily routine of making sure that I have the prayer time. I use certain oils every day. Just focusing on, anytime I feel that switch coming on of annoyance or other pieces that just kind of can be a trigger, trying to catch myself. And, so it might be something as simple as like, the husband left his socks out or something, right? And, to be able to say, but I have a husband, or it's just something that might seem really silly like that, but to be able to just switch that thinking, and then I can much easier go into something like, I'm really grateful for, or the things that he does, instead of focusing on the socks. So just simple little things that just retraining my brain a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a daily practice. And I know with the Aroma
Yes.
Freedom, I do it every day, and it really helps,
Yes.
especially when your hormones are imbalanced, and just kind of recentering yourself and getting those oils in your body, and you're remembering to drink your water and make sure you get your sleep and live that balanced life and set
Yes.
your goals. If you could give someone who's struggling with the same type of modality, I mean, you went through a lot of life changes at once, loss of your parent, a divorce, moving. Those are huge life changes. What is one thing that you wish you would have known then that you know now that you would have had?
I think probably two of the things that have really made more sense to me is, even though I'm a trauma therapist and I do all this stuff, to really see how the emotions impact um, the body. That was a huge awakening for me. And so being able to know how important it is to actually express how I'm feeling. I'm an Enneagram 9. So if anybody's familiar with the Enneagram, I don't talk about things, and I keep things pretty low key because it's the peacemaker and, not having my voice. And so those are all things that have contributed to where I'm at and how I store things in my body, because I'm not processing, I'm not releasing, I'm not, doing those things as regularly. It's with more challenge, I guess you could say. So I have to be much more intentional. So that was something huge to learn, that even though I know it, right, actually being able to put it into practice and seeing how important it really is, that was a really huge thing. And then the oils and that consistency of using it every day, whether it just be for my hormone health or just mood balancing or for the affirmations. That's something that I think a lot of times we take for granted, how we need to be really consistent to see that
Mm-hmm.
change. So, we
Yeah.
went to the gym once, right? How come I'm not all, where sometimes it's like, well, I did this thing for 3 or 4 days. How come it's not working, right? And so I think that's just our brains. We want that change and we're desperate for it. And so, but we forget that consistency is key.
Yeah. That's awesome. So tell us about the programs that you offer.
I do a lot of different things, and I'm trying to expand quite a bit. I'm learning with all my learning on the emotions and how it impacts the body. I actually have a scanner that's a really cool handheld device that helps. It kind of works with frequencies, and it's very individualized and unique. And it works with balancing body systems And so it can work with, anything from emotions to nutritionally. It's pretty cool. And so I've been adding that into my practice with my clients or separately using the emotion code. So that's another tool that's similar but different from the aroma freedom that I do. And that's a little bit more, I think, of like generational, or how sometimes like those emotions get stored, like with me, that there's something that's not processed. And
Mhm.
so that awareness, I think with the aroma freedom is a little bit different because it's there most of the time. It's just kind of hiding, or it might be unconscious. Sometimes with the emotion code, we don't even know it's there. It's something that, makes sense a lot of times when we find out what those things are, but we don't always necessarily know it in the same way, or it could be generational. And so it's a different form of release that I love doing because I love hearing the stories of how impactful, both the AFT and the emotion code can be for people.
That's awesome. And you can do that via Zoom.
I can, or even the emotion code is, because it's frequency based, I don't actually have to be present with anybody. So I can do that. It's called by proxy.
Awesome. That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
And well, thank you so much for sharing your healing journey. I just love
Yeah.
the modality. It's very similar to mine. So that's awesome. And, just thank you for taking your time to share this with us. And for the viewers out there, the link to connect with Judith will be in the description box. And so if you're interested in any coaching programs, the aroma freedom she has to offer, just visit her on her home on the web and connect with her. And I've got to get that emotion code going. That reading this sounds very interesting to me. So thanks
It's very
again for
fun.
joining us, and stay tuned for next week's episode of Forgiving the Girl Inside.
Thank you.